All right, hello, everybody. Give me 1 second. I am going to share my screen with you and we will go ahead and get started. So I'm Allie Bloyd. This is day one of the Local Lead Generation Challenge. This is a 5-day challenge where I'm going to walk you step by step through the process of building a profitable local Facebook and Instagram ad campaign. So just a couple of things, you guys will be getting reminders before we go live each day. Try and join live. This will really help you get the most out of this challenge. I also encourage you to take action. I will be giving you action steps every single day of the challenge. So block out some time to really put in the work and implement what I'm teaching you. Information is virtually worthless without action. So please keep that in mind as we go through this. And I'm very, very excited to share the same strategies that have allowed me to win a 2 Comma Club award from ClickFunnels, that have gotten me on the stage of social media marketing world, of digital marketer, and some of the world's top marketing platforms. So let's go ahead and dive in. And if you have any questions as we go through this, please just put them in the comments. I can't actually see your comments right now, so I won't be able to answer those until after we're done, but I promise you that I will get to them. So, all right, we are gonna go ahead and get started. All right, again, this is the 5-day local lead gen challenge, but I will be honest, there are people that are not local businesses that are in this challenge. We have agencies that work for local businesses. We have marketers. I know there's some e-commerce businesses in here. And the truth of the matter is that this strategy will work for anyone. I'm definitely going to be speaking mainly about local businesses and using examples that focus around a specific local business, but take what I'm telling you, and if you really apply it, it will work for any business. All right, so in the next 5 days, what am I going to teach you? Number one, I want you to have a clear understanding of all of the steps involved in planning and executing a profitable Facebook and Instagram ad campaign for a local business. Most importantly, I want to try and decrease the confusion. People really get overwhelmed when it comes to doing this, not only with the technical platforms, but they have no idea how to formulate a strategy for their local business or how these things apply to them personally. So I really want to try and simplify it, give you the right information and the right steps that you need to take to put this into action. Obviously, I also want to increase the success that you're going to find on Facebook and Instagram in the actual platform. So we will be talking about the anatomy of a successful Facebook and Instagram ad, going through those different options and objectives to make sure that you don't always only have the theory, but you also have the technical understanding as well. And then finally, I really want to make sure you understand how to maximize every lead that comes in and turn them into revenue so you can grow your business predictably. This is something that every single business needs to learn how to do. I don't care if you're a startup, pre-revenue, if you've been in business for a while, or if you are a multi-million-dollar organization. We have businesses at all levels in our group program where we actually set up and implement these systems, and it works for everyone. If you don't have this, you need this, because you don't just want to generate leads. You don't just want to generate clicks. You want to generate new paying customers, and also customers that are going to spend more long term, so that you can say, all right, if I put X amount of dollars into my advertising, I know that I can expect this much to come out of it, and gives you confidence. It reduces the fear that you will feel when it comes to actually marketing your business online. All right, quickly, why is this a big challenge for local businesses? Again, I mainly work with local businesses in my agency, and one of the reasons is because that's where almost all of my 8 years of experience has been. I have worked with a few e-commerce businesses. However, I really see a need in the local space. They typically have smaller budgets. Typically, they have less help, or there's more work to be done. So even if you do have a team, their efforts are kind of spread thin. There's definitely limited training and support for local businesses. Also, because most of the transactions are happening offline, there's a real disconnect between the sales and marketing efforts, which can make things really, really hard to track, hard to understand, and also hard to see when there is a disconnect. So my goal is to try and close the loop for you so that you can see, hey, this is what's working on the marketing side, but most importantly, this is what's adding revenue to the actual business, which is our only goal as business owners. So what are we going to cover over the next 5 days? Today, we will be talking about profitable planning. This is the single most important part of the challenge, I'll be honest. I know a lot of people who have run Facebook and Instagram ads. In theory, they understand the platforms, the objectives, what the specs of the creative need to be, etc. But they're still failing. And they're failing because they have no idea what the purpose of their campaigns are. They have no idea what offer is actually going to drive the results they want to see. And there's just a real disconnect between what needs to be happening on the back end and then what's actually going on in their ads. Tomorrow, we're going to cover avatars and targeting, creating the right audiences that actually want to see your ads. Then on day 3, we'll be covering the anatomy of an effective ad. We'll really be diving into the platforms, understanding what you can do to make your ads more effective. On day 4, we'll cover conversions and tracking. And day 5, we're going to be talking about how to implement this information and ensure long-term success. I'm also going to be giving one person who's live on day 5 a very special prize. So if you're there, you will automatically have the ability to win that. So please join me and we'll go ahead and get started with day 1. All right, knowing your numbers. This is so, so, so important. And there are a lot of numbers that you could know, okay? A lot of things that you could be trying to figure out and analyze. Ultimately, every business has a few numbers that are going to be a little bit more important than others, but you definitely want to have a really good understanding of your budget, your cost per lead, cost per click, cost per acquisition, lifetime value, average purchase value, cost per engagement is something else that we keep an eye on. But what I typically see is that, okay, numbers can be one of the most important things to give us a clear idea of what's working in our business. Numbers are very straightforward. The old saying goes, numbers don't lie. And that is true, but they do confuse a lot of people. And ultimately, it's not the numbers that are distorting the data. It's your understanding of them and how they apply to not only your business, but your campaigns individually. So I've seen a lot of people that are running campaigns or specific ads, and they feel like they're failing, when in reality, I look at them and I see where that ad fits within the overall system. And I say, hey, that ad's actually doing really well, but you don't understand the purpose of this ad. So you're judging it by the wrong numbers, okay? Very important to understand that you cannot look at all of your ads in the same way. We will be talking about that more as we continue to go on, but really understanding the foundational numbers in your business or the business you're marketing for or the businesses of your clients if you're an agency is really going to allow you to have a much better grasp on what's working and what's not. You also need to make sure that you have a very tight eye on not only the marketing numbers, but the sales numbers as well. Because you could have an ad or a campaign that's bringing in the largest number of leads, the lowest cost leads. But if those leads never convert to sales, why are you still running that campaign or why are you not changing things? So again, looking at the numbers, very important. On the surface, looking at lowest cost per lead sounds good. But if they don't convert to sales, it means nothing. All right, here are some of the numbers that you would want to calculate. So really, you're not going to be able to do all of these right here and now. I do want you to take a look at these. I will have a sheet that I'll put in the group for you that will give you some of these formulas. But ultimately, these are the things that you can start to understand even if you're not spending money on advertising. These typically are things that you really are going to want to look at after you start advertising. So conversion rate, yes, you can go ahead and calculate that. But what a lot of people don't understand is if you have been relying strictly on word of mouth you are going to convert at a much higher rate with those leads. Let's be honest, referrals are the strongest form of lead that you can get. They're basically already sold by the time they get to you. Someone else that really likes you saw a need in someone else and referred you. The trust is there, the need is there. Usually it's, at the right time. You cannot expect your paid ad leads to convert at the same rate. So yes, definitely look at conversion rate, but it is not necessarily something that is going to be the same. So I would say definitely look at these numbers, and then we'll look at these numbers after you actually have some paid advertising data. So as I go through this process, I'm actually going to be setting up a real client example for you. So this business is a B2B local business. Normally, I always talk about like B2C companies, but ultimately it doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's H to H, human to human. These people, whether they own businesses or whether they are just consumers, they're on these platforms, okay? This is still a local business advertising in a local area, and they're still trying to reach a very specific market, the same way that any other business to consumer organization would want to do. So this is really who we're going to be kind of formulating the examples for. This is who I will build the campaign for. And it's definitely a business that's like outside of our typical agency niche, but I'm super excited about it. They're a great company. And here's the thing, they have grown a $15 million business with very little marketing. Okay. So this is a kind of company that I absolutely love to do agency work for, because number one, they have a good product, a good service if they're able to get to these numbers without much marketing. So they've grown really organically, word of mouth. They obviously have a sales team, and they've really evolved. Like they've been around for like 40 something years. And they started off selling printers and like maintaining printers and copiers and scanners. Obviously, we're in a more digital world today. So their business has had to change in order to stay relevant. So IT is a big thing that they're doing. However, a lot of people don't even know that they offer this anymore, or in the first place, really. They have current customers who don't know about everything they do. So their cost per lead is actually not applicable, because anything they have spent has really been stretched out over a long period of time. They were doing things like TV, and to be honest, they spent a decent amount on TV, but they don't have any idea of how many leads that brought in, which is a serious problem with some of the traditional advertising methods. So cost per event, this could be a phone call, this could be a physical appointment. For some of you, it may be a purchase. We just have a goal. We know what the industry, what this data in the industry looks like, and we just have an initial goal. So you will see the reasons why we chose some of these as we look at the numbers we've already pulled together. So their cost per lead, we're just going to shoot for an initial $100 per lead. That's totally achievable. It'll probably be way, way, way less. But that's our max goal. You all should have a max goal, and it should be based on data. Sometimes it's based on industry data if you don't have these numbers yet. Then you're going to have a max goal per event. So ours is $500 per appointment. Again, depending on what the numbers look like, we may actually be able to spend a lot more, but that is our initial goal. Conversion rate, again, this is not totally applicable because they have had so much organic growth. We're just shooting for a 25% conversion rate. So we want 1 of every 4 appointments to turn into a client, which means our cost per acquisition essentially is going to be about $2,000. That is very, very good for an IT company that has a great product and service and keeps their clients long-term. So if we look at their average purchase value, we're looking at about $5,000, okay? Average purchase frequency based on the formula is 3. So for them, it's like 3 years. They have people on these recurring contracts. Churn rate, they keep their clients. Like obviously some are going to drop off, they're going to get more. So we're just going to keep it at an even 1. And then customer lifetime value. If they're staying an average of 3 years, an average of $5,000 per year, we're looking at $15,000 customer lifetime value. That's actually low for some of their clients, especially if they can add on more of the services that they offer. So really upselling those people after they get in is super important, which we'll talk about as we go along. So again, you may not have the exact data for all of these, but you need to do your best, and you need to have goals that are based on some type of fact, usually industry data for someone that's already doing this. Okay, offers. This is probably, if I had to identify one thing that local businesses struggle with the most, it's offers. They don't understand it. It's not your product and service. It is how this is packaged. It's what's going to get someone into your ecosystem, what is going to help you convert them from someone who doesn't know who you are into a paying client, okay? There are three main types of offers. We're not going to have a chance to get into every single one in detail, but gated content, this is more like a lead magnet. You're going to get somebody's information in exchange for some type of content. This is a great way to identify interest, segment your audience. A loss leader. I absolutely love loss leader offers. I feel like 90% of businesses, local businesses, don't have a loss leader. They wouldn't even know it if they did. So a loss leader does not mean you have to be losing money. You could be simply breaking even on the front end, which we'll talk about front end versus back end in a minute. And it just needs to be something that really appeals to your target audience, but it also needs to help you achieve your goals. So we'll talk about that in a minute. A few examples could be like one purchase of something for X dollars, a free or discounted first step, free or discounted introductory offer. So this is really going to vary depending on what the business is. But loss leaders are great. You can get lower cost leads. And if you have the value ladder in place effectively, and you also have the follow-up systems to lead people to the next step, you can seriously cash in and scale a large business based on a loss leader. Product preview offers, most people have something like this. So it's going to be like a free estimate, a consultation, maybe it's financing. It could be some type of time-based incentive, like, something done in a short period of time. Like, we'll remodel your bathroom in a week. That's something that we've seen from like random businesses. And this is something that has no value unless someone plans to buy. So remodeling your bathroom in a week doesn't matter unless you plan to remodel your bathroom. So a loss leader, it needs to have value on its own, but it should seamlessly lead into your core offer. Obviously, the value of gated content is the content itself. Okay, so I really encourage people to have one of each of these, sometimes more. If you've never created an actual offer for your business, you may not know exactly what's going to work best. This needs to be tested the same way your copy and creative and targeting and all of those things need to be tested. One simple offer change could totally transform the lead generation process and results of your business. So in terms of creating an offer that's going to work for you, this is usually kind of my process when I'm helping someone create offers. So we essentially create an offer for all of our agency clients and all of our students in our local marketing mastery program, which is like our marketing systems setup program. We help them come up with their ideal offer, maybe one or two to start with or to test out. So I actually love helping people create offers. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I actually have a little system for doing this. But here are the things that I look for. Where do your highest margins lie? What are the products and services that are going to allow you to make the most profit? Okay, businesses care about revenue, but you also want to have profit, because if you have super high revenue and you're not keeping hardly any of it, it doesn't actually matter that much. So we also want to look at the demand. Where is the highest demand in terms of the products and services offered? Maybe it's that there is a much larger audience for one of them than for another. Maybe it's something that people need to buy a lot more often. So buying patterns, that same type of thing. What do people buy frequently, or what do they buy more of? What could you kind of convince them to buy more of? Customer loyalty is another thing. So making sure that this will in fact breed more customer loyalty or even referrals. You want to look at the buying cycle. So if the buying cycle is long, you need to somehow work that into your offer. It's a very short buying cycle. You need to have something that they can act on quickly. Otherwise, someone else will capture them first. The strengths of your business is another thing to focus on. So you want to make sure that if you have an offer, you can actually deliver on it. The worst thing you can do is advertise something that you cannot fulfill. It will completely hurt your business. So please just really think about it. Even if it's something your clientele would want, but you don't have the ability to do it well or do it on a larger scale if things go the way you want them to, don't start there. Start with something else. And then your long-term goals. Okay, is there a certain product or service that if you sold more of these, that things would go your way, that you would increase revenue, you would increase profit, you'd have more freedom in your business, you'd be able to hire the sales team or more help to kind of get you out of the field. What are those goals? And that is absolutely something that needs to be tied in to your offer. So one offer that we recently created for one of our newer clients. This is something that I really like talking about because we've seen great success with them. It was a totally new industry for us, and it checks all the boxes, essentially. So they are a laundry company. They basically will pick up your laundry, they'll wash, dry, fold, deliver it back to you within 24 hours, okay? That's something that has a high demand. Everybody has to do laundry, okay? Some people may see it as a luxury, not a necessity, not if you advertise it the right way. The margins, they're going to be solid, but essentially their goals were, we just need to get more new clients in, because when we get clients, like, we keep them. However, we also really wanted to maximize their existing client base. The way they had their website set up, the buying process for their existing clients even, was basically that they would, schedule their laundry pickup whenever it was convenient, and they were paying on an individual basis. So I encourage them to set up a subscription-based pricing plan. This is not only going to allow their clientele to not have to think about scheduling these things as much, which saves them time. It's really going to allow the business to make more off of each individual client because they need it every week. It's not something that you're trying to force on them that they don't need. They actually do need it. So let's encourage them to use it as much as it should be used by making it very simple, structuring your offer in a way that works for the client, in a way that works for you. All right, so this is an example of the offer cheat sheet that I came up with this IT company. So this is a process that I do for pretty much anybody. It'll be for my students in the local marketing mastery program. It'll be for our done for you clients. Sometimes, people never even know that this exists on the back end, but this is really where I get my ideas for what we're actually going to start with. So again, I encourage something in every category. Sometimes you're not going to be able to, like, your budget isn't going to allow you to do that, but you should have things essentially on the back burner ready to go. So gated content, these are some examples. Okay. I really like simple gated content offers. You don't want to spend all your time going through, and developing an ebook or some like massive training or guide if you don't know it's going to work yet. If you're still in the early stages and you haven't done a lot of content testing, then you're not necessarily going to know what resonates best. So we just want to, try something that we really feel like is going to work for the client and it's going to be simple for the company to create. Something like a list is really easy to do. So 9 tech solutions your small business must have in 2019. Or 2020, obviously. Case studies can be good because you most likely already have that data. How one local business doubled productivity with the right IT partner. So lots of different ideas. We really want to get some subscribers. So this is something that we'll talk about in just a minute, but essentially there are different types of business models that really should focus on different types of things when it comes to their offers. Their loss leader, their business phone set up for $100. Every business needs phones, okay? That's a high demand offer because they can sell it to more people because all of these people need it. It's not some very small segment of the market that can use it. So because they have all these other back-end products and services, they just need as many new clients as possible. Then they can offer them other things over time. They're very high ticket, like smaller segment offers. you could make it your front end offer, but it's not going to be the most effective. So this is probably something that we're getting started with. We're also doing seminars, and we're going to be doing some like monthly masterminds, which is basically the same thing. They're just live events. I help a lot of businesses with live events, love doing it. And there's definitely a demand. I mean, if you're in a local business, you want to connect with people in your community, and these people, whether they need you today or not, still a great opportunity for a referral because they are out networking in the community. They are talking to their friends and family. So these are two great loss leader offers. This can be something like a kind of like a product preview, but because you are investing your time up front without technically asking for anything in return, it definitely can be a loss leader. So in terms of product preview, we're going with the free contract review. So they can actually do this like via text message, which I think is awesome. People respond to text messages, whether you like them or whether you dislike them. They are effective in getting people to answer. So we would never send this to anybody who didn't opt in for it. So keep that in mind. If you opt in for something that is related to text messages, you're probably going to get it. That's why someone asked. So the free contract review, they can really just like send their stuff very easily. They're not even necessarily having to get on the phone, but they are going to try and get that client to either schedule a meeting or a phone call for them to review it. So it makes the process simple. It also makes it a way that, you know, a lot of people can access it, whether they are on their phone or their desktop whenever they're actually seeing the ad. So free custom technology roadmap, that could be something. On-site survey, they do those as well. Ultimately, they could have a lot of different offers. The question is, what are we going to advertise first? What are our core offer ads going to focus on? So this is what I was talking about in terms of model-based offer ideas. So I really see three different types of models that really dictate the way that I look at a business and what type of offers they should be utilizing. So the first one is going to be a recurring revenue. This could be high ticket, this could be low ticket. So this IT company, they are recurring revenue. They may have products and services that are, you know, more of one-time purchases, but overall they get people on a monthly plan. Same with the laundry company. They are recurring revenue. People need laundry on an ongoing basis. So the best types of offers for this business model would definitely be something that gets subscribers, because the more you can communicate with people, the more you can encourage them to buy more long-term. Okay, so anytime you're doing a gated content offer, that can be a really good one. Obviously, there's a way to lead it into the core offer right away, but you really want to make sure that it's something that people have to actually submit their info in order for this to work for you. We also want to make sure that this is a great introductory offer. So for the laundry company, their offer is 50% off your first month of laundry. So it's not 1 week of laundry, it's not one load of laundry, it's 1 month, 4 loads. Okay, we want to give a really strong front end offer, 50% off, because their money's made on the back end. It's recurring revenue. You can be more aggressive on that front end offer if you have a great customer lifetime value. This is also something that ties in well with the goal of the company, which is to make sure people understand how much time they can save with their service. So you may not realize that after your first load of laundry. You know, after 4 loads, after a whole month of not having to do it, you are going to realize how powerful this is in your life. Same way with an IT company. When you finally have those solutions, you may not really notice how much it changes your business after like one experience. It may be after you see things on an ongoing basis. So really make sure you're focusing on what leads customers into working with you long-term. Work that into the offer. So a one-time purchase, high or low, this typically needs to be very time focused, because if it's a one-time purchase, once someone's outside of that window, you may not get them again. We work with a lot of remodelers, and while that's not necessarily a one-time purchase, it is a high ticket lower frequency thing. Sometimes people will only do it once in their whole life. Sometimes people move and they can reuse people. But again, we see it more as like a one-time thing. So we really want to segment the audiences very effectively based on the time that they are thinking about these things. You also want something that's going to be really powerful in terms of conversion. So maybe it gets you fewer actual leads, but if they all convert, then you're still going to achieve your goals. You really don't have time to waste on low conversion rates. So this is something where kind of contests can come into play. I'm not a hater on contests, and I've used them. They serve their purpose, but a lot of times people think that this is going to be great for every business model, and it's not. If you don't have something that really indicates someone is serious about buying and you're just trying to get their info, those people are not going to turn into paying customers. Some of them might if you do things the right way, but definitely not the place you want to start for a business like that. You could definitely do it with recurring revenue, especially for the lower ticket, because you just need a lot of people in your ecosystem to then present your offer to. Retail models definitely encourage bundles. That's a great thing. You don't even necessarily have to discount. You could do time-based sales, so certain products on sale for a very short period of time. You could do events to bring people into your retail location, which is very, very important. You also want to build your subscriber list if it's something people are purchasing on a regular basis. So just a few different ways to look at it depending on the business model. Some of them do overlap, but this is very important to think about. Then we're going to look at our front end versus our back end offer. So we've been talking a lot about front end offers, what actually brings them into the ecosystem, what's going to generate that lead. Most local businesses, they have to generate a lead. Otherwise, they'd be an e-commerce company. A lead could be a phone call. It could be an appointment. It could be somebody, submitting a form requesting info. There's a lot of different ways that you could categorize that. But most local businesses transact offline. Even those that transact online, you typically need to get a lead before you're going to get the sale. Back-end offers, this is where you really have to be thinking, what can I offer them either right after they purchase that is a good fit with what they're already using, or what can I offer them over time? So just like I talked about with this IT company, offering them something that a lot of people need and could use with a really aggressive price, like the phone system, that's a need for like any business almost. Back-end offers, these are going to be their managed IT services. These could be security system services. These could be a lot of different things. They're going to systematically offer these to the right people that it makes sense for. And some of them they're going to offer to everybody if it's another more general business need. So this can essentially break even on a lot of businesses. Sometimes you need this to be profitable, for sure. You definitely need to know your numbers in order to realize that. So if you've got a high customer lifetime value like this business does, or even like the laundry business does, they're both more recurring revenue models. One of them's low ticket, one of them's high ticket. They ultimately keep their customers. Their customers like them. They make a lot of money off them long term. So they know that they can break even on this first offer, or even lose money if they have to, in order to get that person in, because once the person experiences the business, they're going to stick around and stay with them, which is going to make them a lot more money than they put out. You really want these back-end offers to make the most of every single lead and really help drive significant revenue. So in terms of your goals are going to be dependent on, number one, what your numbers look like after you do these formulas, okay? I can't tell you what your goals should necessarily be because it is going to be different for every business. If you look at those models I just shared with you, that'll give you a fairly good idea. You also need to understand that campaign-specific goals or ad-specific goals, those are going to vary based on where they fit in the ad strategy. So the strategy that I've developed, that we use, that I share with my students, that I use in my agency, this is a 3-level ad strategy. We call it the AB3, and every level has different objectives. It has different KPIs that you need to be looking at. Like I mentioned in the beginning, you could have an ad that you see as performing really poorly. I could look at it and say, oh, that's a level 1. It's actually performing really well. But because you don't know where it fits within the strategy, you're making poor decisions. So understanding the strategy will also help you make really educated decisions that are based on fact, not based on emotion. This can be an emotional process. If we are smaller businesses, you're investing your own money into advertising. It can be, something that fills you with anxiety. However, understanding the numbers and your goals is going to allow you to eliminate a lot of the fear and anxiety and just emotions involved in this process, which is what you need to do. Advertising is about making educated, strong decisions. They're not all going to work out exactly how you want them to, but if you have the right data to start with, you shouldn't be terrified. You should say, okay, I know this is what I'm looking for. If it's not fitting within this model, then I know I need to change something or go back to the drawing board. You're not just going to continue to run things that are not producing a return. You're also going to know, if you use the systems and strategies that we recommend, what is producing a return and what is not, which is ultimately what you have to be looking at. Because again, if your transactions are happening off of line, the ads that are producing your best customers may not be the lowest cost. It may not be the ad set with the most leads. So you've really got to close the loop. All right, finally, your homework. So this is the end of day one. What are the numbers for your business? If you've been advertising, do all of them. If you have not yet been advertising, I want you to look at industry data. I also want you to just pull the numbers from your actual business in terms of what one client is worth to you, how much they're going to spend. If you don't have that data either, like you're a newer business, then you should just kind of do it based on where you realistically expect to be. You can always change these as you go, but you do have to have something to start with. You also want to look at that industry data that we talked about. You are going to need to decide on your front end and your back end offers. This is not something that is easy for everyone. The system that I use is really simple to me, but sometimes if I'm not walking someone through it, they have difficulty just coming up with those off the top of their heads. So it may be that it's clear to you after this what your offer should be. And it may be that you still don't know and you feel like you need some personal support. Whatever it is, I really want you to think about it, write it down. When you know what your goals are and you kind of look at some of those things we've talked about, like where's the highest demand, where's the highest margin, what leads into your back end upsells. It may be something that, just kind of comes to you in the next week, but you definitely want to have that. So front end, especially because that's what we're going to be working on building over the next 4 days from here on out. And then you also want to say, okay, how will I determine success? Will it initially be based on leads coming in? Will it be based on revenue produced? If it's based on revenue, make sure you're thinking about your buying cycle. If you have a 1 month buying cycle, you can't look at revenue produced after 1 week. If you have 3 months, you can't look at that first month as what you're going to be making. So make sure that you're actually reviewing things realistically and not expecting something to come too soon. In businesses that have a longer buying cycle, you may not see your return on investment in the first month, and you have to be okay with that. As long as your other numbers are lining up, you've got to build a pipeline. People don't always make decisions instantly. You have to be okay with that. But as long as you know your customer, your buying cycle, your industry, and that you can actually help these people and close these people, you're gonna do really, really well. So it will look a little bit different for every business, but please look at this realistically, not emotionally, and come up with your plan. So that's all we have for day one. I know this is a lot of content, but it's definitely the most important part. So please, if you do nothing else in this challenge, do the homework for today, because it will guide you on not only your Facebook and Instagram ads, but all of your advertising moving forward. So this challenge really is about giving you what you need so that you can work on some of these things yourself. But if you already know that, I've tried, I've hired help, I don't really know what to do from this point, then we'd love to talk to you. We have a great option to help people get all of this set up. You can just click on the cover photo in the group, schedule a call with me and my team. We'll talk to you about it, see if it's a good fit. Otherwise, take action and do what we talk about in the next 5 days, and you can absolutely accomplish some really awesome things. So thanks so much for being here with me today. I cannot wait to be on day 2 with you tomorrow. Again, you will be getting a reminder via email and via text if you opted in for text reminders like 5 minutes before. So, I do encourage you to mark your calendars, but even if you don't, I really don't want you to miss this. So I'll see you then, and hopefully I'll see your questions in the group. I will answer them, and I want you to come prepared with your homework completed, ready for day 2. So, all right, I will talk to you guys later, and have a wonderful rest of the day.